Hey guys, it's Crazywargamerz Christian here with the first edition of Know Your Foe. This is the series where we tell you about the certain armies in Warhammer 40k and how to get around their strengths, how to take advantage of their weaknesses, and just the overall tactic to employ in general, and what I find is useful. First off, we're going to go over with the Space Marines. The Space Marines are first listed off in the rule book in the order of the fluff. It goes Space Marines, Imperial Guard, Chaos Space Marines. If you got a rule book, you know what I'm talking about. Which you probably do. Somebody's got to if you're going to be playing the game. Okay, first we're going to list off the 3 strengths of the Space Marines. Okay, first off, they have the strength of the Space Marines is they've got a lot of heavy weapons that they can employ in just about anything. Now, that's not to imply that they're a heavy weapons army. They've just got a lot of versatile weaponry to use. This entails the assault cannon, heavy bolter, las cannon, missile launcher. So that really makes them a foe to be feared, and the missile launchers can be included in regular tactical squads, as can las cannons. Also, an entire squad of Devastator squads can be given these ungodly weapons. Now, depending on what army you face, they're probably going to employ weapons to counteract or counterattack exactly what you've got. Say, for instance, you play orcs or tyranids. They're probably going to be pummeling you to death with heavy bolters and blast templates from the missile launcher. And that's easy for taking out swarms. They can mow you down in large numbers with a heavy bolter, and trust me, it's nasty. I used to play Tyranids, and I used to go up against Space Marines with heavy bolters, and I'd just get mowed down like there's no tomorrow. If you play an army like Necrons or other Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, you're probably going to be looking down the barrels of las cannons, which is able to punch through your face and get to your armor and your tank. Also, another big advantage of the Space Marines is they have the They Shall Know No Fear. That is a huge advantage because that means you can't kill them off and sweeping advance. Now that's only beneficial, in my opinion, in the Annihilation setting, because basically Annihilation is kill off your enemy. If you're playing an objectives-based game, unless you're attacking the guys that are on the objective, that's really not going to. They Shall Know No Fear is not going to do you much good again. Not going to do them much good. If you're playing Annihilation, you're trying to kill them off, and They Shall Know No Fear is going to hold you up, and it's just going to hold up another anti-infantry squad in combat with somebody else for the longest time. Another strength of theirs in the Space Marine Army is the fact that they're incredibly versatile. They can be equipped to handle just about any foe, and that can get to be a nuisance at times. If you want to try to find a way around, like, say, their low numbers, they can easily counteract that by having lots and lots of little guys with no upgrades at all. That may not seem like a good idea that you're looking at, but that's a lot of bolter fire coming at you. Alright guys, those are the strengths. Let's go over that again. Highly versatile, lots of heavy weapons to employ, and They Shall Know No Fear. Now we're going to go over exactly what is their weaknesses, which I'll say is admittedly few. One of their weaknesses that you can easily notice is the fact that they have low numbers. Space Marine players will typically put out low numbers with a few upgrades on the squads that'll soak up points. Another weakness of theirs is they don't typically employ a lot of tanks. Now this is excluding Land Raiders. Those are pretty point costly. And the Land Raider, Redeemer, Crusader, whatever, those things are nasty. Whenever you're fighting a Space Marine player, they do not typically use a lot of tanks. Those Space Marine armor saves are good enough to suffice. And another weakness of the Space Marines is the fact that the They Shall Know No Fear is very limiting for them. That may not seem like much, considering the fact that I just put that as a strength of theirs, as They Shall Know No Fear. Well, here's the thing, and depending on what kind of game you're playing, if you're playing a capture and control or seize ground game, if they have the They Shall Know No Fear, they're not going to be able to use that squad to take an objective. You're going to be holding them down. The same thing goes for your way, but that can get to be a problem. Another thing with They Shall Know No Fear that some people don't know is if they have the They Shall Know No Fear, and then they fail their leadership in combat, if they lost the combat, then they're going to run back, and you can do sweeping advance unless you're in Terminator armor, or unless there's something else that says you don't do sweeping advances. Now, whenever they fall back after they've taken their leadership and failed, if you catch them up, if you roll for the initiatives and you catch them up, Then they have the no retreat, which gives them fearless saves. Now, for some of you that don't know that, fearless saves mean that for every point you lost in combat, you take an armor save. We'll go over this more later in a separate video of commonly confused rules. Basically what a fearless save is if you failed combat by so many numbers, if the enemy killed a certain amount of more guys than you killed of theirs, say for instance you have Khorne Berserkers that went up against regular Space Marines and the Space Marines lost that combat, and the Space Marines killed one Khorne Berserker and the Khorne Berserkers killed 3 Space Marines. They lost by 2 because they lost 2 more guys than the Khorne Berserkers did. So if they get caught up in the sweeping advance, they take 2 fearless saves on armor saves. That's it. Now what that means is, if say for instance if they do fail the combat just like that, they're going to be falling back. Khorne Berserkers catch them up, and the Space Marines are going to be needing to take more armor saves, which could potentially dwindle their numbers even more and make it a lot easier for the Chaos Space Marines. Now that doesn't mean that they have a fearless save. They fail one save. That doesn't mean that they take the Lay Shall Know No Fear again. Once the fearless saves are done and any casualties are removed as a result, that's the end of combat. They don't fall back anymore. Now the reason that I consider that a weakness of theirs is because if they do fall back and they do lose more, technically that's a sweeping advance. That's just my opinion, and they could lose the entire squad. I've seen Space Marine players rely on it all the way and holding me up in combat only for me to slash them down with Gene Stealers in the end. Given Gene Stealers are the most powerful close combat troop in the game, that's hardly unbelievable in that case. Alright, now we can go over tactics right now of how to go around that. Let's first use ways to destroy the Space Marines. First off, don't be afraid of the Terminators. Well, sorry, don't be too afraid of the Terminators. You may think, well, they're Terminators. They're 2+ armor save and 5 up invulnerable. Yeah, that's their weak point. Use very heavy weapons whenever taking out Terminators. Of course, if they don't have any tanks. If they have tanks, like a Land Raider, focus that las cannon on that daggum Land Raider. If you're fighting Terminators, depending on what kind they are, if they're all shooty, then you want to engage them in assault with a power weapon of some kind, because their close combat weapon's typically going to be a power fist. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be shooting weapons like an assault cannon and a power fist. If they're all assaulty, then you can easily engage them at range, because at some point or another, they're going to fail their armor save, or fail an invulnerable. Basically, what you're going to want to do is employ the tactics that are exactly the opposite of what kind of Terminator squad they're using. Like I said, if they're using all shooty, then engage them in assault. If they're using all assaulty, then engage them with shooting. And try to engage them at range. And here's a more extension on that rule. If you're going to engage them in combat or whatever, the term "don't be too afraid of the Terminators" basically means don't be so concerned about them, but don't be stupid about it. They're still Terminators. They still typically will have a power fist and be able to kill your independent character in nothing flat. You're going to get mowed down, nothing flat. You're just going to get pummeled and pile drived. It's just going to be vicious. Then again, if you are too afraid of them and you don't fire anything, that's going to leave them untouched. And they're just going to run around the field, killing stuff left and right. It's just how they are. They're also anti-tank, so don't even dare try to run them over with a tank unless you've got a Land Raider, because even then it's going to make it difficult. Trust me, I've tried running over Terminators with my Rhino, only have it to be blown up in the end. And you'll notice that in all the battle reports that you'll see me in, at least once, that somebody's going to get run over with the tank. Or at least the thought's going to cross my mind. Another point to take advantage of the Space Marines is take advantage of the combat tactics rule that they have. Combat tactics basically means that they can split up their 2 squads into 5. Normally, a squad, say for Chaos Space Marines, the regular Chaos Marines, they have to, if they're going to be in groups of 10, they have to stay in groups of 10 and they can't split up. And that's not the same for Space Marines, who can be deployed as 2 separate squads of 5 but still count as 1 unit. And you're probably asking, well, how would we use that to our advantage? If they're going to be split up and be a little bit of a distance away from each other, you can easily run up and take out half the squad just like that. And they're going to be gone, depending on what you're using. If you're using Gretchen to try to take them out, not going to do you much good. If you're going to use gene stealers or knobs to take them out, it's probably your better bet. Because if you can take out that 5-number squad, they're probably going to be on an objective or something, and maybe they'll have the special weapon for that squad. Maybe they'll have the plasma gun. If you can take them out, yeah, it's a pretty good shot, and that's less bolter fire to get hit with. So you take advantage of the combat tactics rule. Try to single them out, cut them off. Now, another way to take advantage of Space Marines that I've seen is pretty obvious, and if you're playing a swarm army, it's not going to be any problem for you at all. Try to outnumber them, overwhelm them with numbers. Space Marines will have a low number force 9 times out of 10, and that's a very, very good advantage for you. If you can outnumber them and split your squads down in as few squads as you can without making them very weak, Space Marines can't shoot at all of them. They can't shoot all of them in one turn. Say, for instance, they've got, for hypothetical reasons, a Devastator squad, 2 tactical squads, Assault Marine squad, and a Chapter Master. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units on the field. That's 5 squads on the field. And say, for sake of argument, you play Orcs, and you've got two 15 mobs, two 15 boy mobs, and a squad of knobs, a war boss, 2 rocket boys or something like that. I can't quite remember what they are. The assault orcs, forgive me, I don't read the Orc Codex as much as I could, and a truck. But keep in mind they can't shoot at all of that. Not to mention the war boss, which is going to be probably rampaging his way through. They can't exactly shoot at all of them. Even if they do take out a squad in one shooting phase, that squad can't assault. That means you can run up untouched and go wipe them out. If you got both squads of boys coming at one tactical squad that can't seem to get support from his buddies, probably because he's behind a wall or something like that. Now keep in mind these are hypothetical situations. Say, like I said, that one tactical squad is getting ready to be assaulted by 2 squads of boys. He can only shoot at 1. He can only shoot at 1 boy squad. That's going to limit his range. While 1 boy squad is probably going to take a few shots and get maybe half down or such like that, the other boy squad is just going to run up, shoot their sluggers, which really not going to do them much good because they have the worst ballistic skills in the galaxy. They're going to run up and probably assault him and do a lot of damage because the Space Marines can only shoot it so much. Take advantage of that. The Space Marines can only unleash so much firepower. Although that firepower is very dangerous and very powerful, they can only release so much. They can only shoot so many squads. Take great advantage of that. Don't be afraid of that part. Don't be afraid to go face to face with those Space Marine squads. Don't be afraid to run up and beat them in the face. So let's go over the weaknesses of the strengths of the army. The strengths are they have lots of versatile weaponry that can spell disaster for you if not taken into consideration. They are very versatile. Squads individually, they are very versatile. They can easily manipulate their army to combat any type of foe. Just keep that in mind. Pause. And finally, they have the "they shall know no fear" that can hold you up for the longest time and prevent you from getting those precious kill points. Now let's go into the weaknesses of the army. We can easily take advantage of the fact that they have the "they shall know no fear." That can be an easily manipulated advantage, because that "they shall know no fear," depending on what kind of game you're playing, though. This one weakness doesn't necessarily apply all the time. But the "they shall know no fear" can get them killed later on, or it can certainly hold them off from getting an objective of some sort, and hold off maybe a heavy shooting squad from destroying your assault squads. To me, that's the best thing to do. And another weakness of theirs is that they have low numbers. Take advantage of that. They have low numbers. That's seriously going to detriment them. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me babble on about the first Know Your Foe edition. This is Crazy Wargamer Christian here, signing off.